you some of my favorite games.
I will honor your teaching. I'm going to find out if I'm really alive.
You talk too much. You failed. You vulgar, utterly uncivilized mongrel.
You heard it up top. We are back with another Whatcha. It's been a bunch of episodes, and that means we're going to be talking about what we want to talk about on a very special episode with your host, Colin.
Mike?
And Jacob.
Wow. Who would have thought? Not me, 240.
We're here.
240?
Happy Whatcha. 240. Wow.
240.
We're getting close to a milestone here.
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting.
So, there's always something to talk about, There's a new Transformers movie, so we'll never run out of material, truly. So that's great.
That's right.
We'll always be punished in our
As long as they're spitting out those MCUs, we'll be there.
Oh, so true.
Harry
We got
Potter
a bunch of
reboot
that
series
stuff coming up.
will be there.
Yes. It's going to be a lot of stuff that we have talked about is getting redone or continuing.
Yeah,
which is the way.
This is the way. Of course, that show's still ongoing. Maybe at the end of the season, we'll have a wrap up on that. We'll see how it times out. But that's been ongoing. But yeah, we're here to do Whatcha. We're just what we've been playing, what we've been watching, what we've been potentially reading. Who knows? But that's how we do these. It's just kind of free form. We're just gonna, let loose and chill out and talk about some of the stuff that we haven't done a full episode on. You guys know the drill, listeners. So yeah, but
That's right.
Yeah, I guess
Let's
up top.
dive in.
Yeah, let's dive in.
We're back here on Normies Like Us. Like we said, we're just going to be doing a Whatcha. First, we're going to be doing a Whatcha. What you watching?
We're watching
What you
over
watch?
here. What you watching? I could kick it off real quick because it ties into something we covered a couple episodes ago, and that's the old John Wick 4. We did John Wick 4, and since then I've rewatched John Wick 1 and 2, and I couldn't quite get to 3 in time for this, but it's on the schedule. So just been revisiting that. Do you guys rewatch any of these since 4 at all? I think we mentioned it briefly.
Not since we watched 4, but I watched all 3 of them in preparation.
Yeah, and I didn't
for
do
4.
that. That's right. So I'm doing
Not
my
since
backlog.
4. Do you
But,
do you
that's a
guys
good time.
know that they are breaking VOD numbers, that literally people are just watching this entire franchise right now?
Sure.
That is wild. I mean, that's what I'm doing
Believe
too
it.
now. So
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it's
you're in
free
good
on
company, Mike.
Peacock. Yeah, it's got ads, but it doesn't seem to be censored in any way. It's just as violent as ever. So I was watching the free version on Peacock and whatever, but
Yeah.
it's interesting to see the evolution, and I still stand by. We did our ranking. Like 2 is very good, just because that's the first time the Baba Yaga becomes John Wick. I think that's where we get the universe. What lining, tactical, all that stuff. You really start to see the scope of the high table and all that. And that's when we really get John Wick's self-contained, but John Wick 2 is really when we enter into, I think, this mythic figure almost. So I don't know, but they're all good. So anyway, I've been checking those out. And
Any new thoughts or feelings or reactions to 4 now that we've been thinking on it for a minute?
it might be the best one, like action-wise,
Wow.
just pure choreography-wise. It's probably the best one. Yeah, it's incredible
Yeah,
what they've
it's the
accomplished.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I mean, it seems like they're like, let's throw everything we can in. If this is the last one, at least the last one with Keanu Reeves or John Wick himself. But I did see today, actually, the teaser trailer for the Continental
Oh,
show. And I don't know, it looked, didn't really do much for me. But,
Looked about as good as Gotham, maybe.
yeah.
That's what I'm expecting. That's literally what I'm expecting.
Who-
I also did see the
who is
Penguin,
in it?
the Colin Farrell Penguin trailer today too.
sure.
It's like I guess telling the story of young Ian McShane.
Building up
Yeah.
the Continental. Winston,
Yes,
the adventures of young
so-
Winston, and yeah.
You can really tell just from the teaser that like Chad Stahelski is not like the directing it, obviously, and obviously Keanu Reeves is not involved with it. So I don't know how much interest there is for me, anyways. Of
He will meet a young Jonathan, a teenage boy named, what was his name? Tell me his name, Jacob. Jobos Pilarski.
Giovanni.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He sounds like a very good basketball player in the modern day.
That's right.
Yeah,
get a young Keanu in there.
No, they're going
De-age
to deep fake him. Yeah, they'll deep fake him. He'll play himself, and they'll just put Bill and Ted face on him. But anyway, that's kind of that. But I do think at the end of it, whether or not the Continental is a worthy successor. I think you have a show about successing, Jacob, that you maybe want to talk about.
Oh,
Oh.
that's a great
Oh.
transition.
I'm hurt by that pun, Mike.
Sorry. You got a double
Uh,
tap, you know?
I think they're both HBO. Is that? I think that's going to be on HBO, that Continental show.
Mm.
Anyways,
No way.
yeah, because I also saw it with the Penguin show that's going to be on HBO, which is just going to be called Max. They're dropping the HBO.
Oh,
That's
right.
new breaking
Discovery-
news. Yeah.
Discovery
Yeah, that's
Plus,
worth saying.
breaking news, HBO News. They're combining
As a
HBO
recording.
and Discovery. We knew that, but it's just going to be called Max. They're changing it from purple to blue. And you know what? I really hate it because
I hate it
first
too.
of all, that purple, that's iconic, for HBO. And HBO as a brand says quality, prestige dramas, Game of Thrones, fucking The Last of Us. They've had a really good track record over the years. And now
Mhm.
you're just saying, oh, we're going to put all this Discovery reality crap on there too. And it's just going to be called Max.
But
So-
that was my issue with adding the Max to the HBO was doesn't that drown out the Sopranos of the world when on the same device I'm watching Doom Patrol, which I do
Yeah.
like.
Well, you would think so, but it's only going to get worse.
Yeah.
I can watch
and-
The Sopranos and then Jersey Shore, one in the same.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Back to back. And
And
I just don't
HBO will just
understand
go
it.
back to being a standalone service.
Well, it's part of. I mean, you can watch everything
My-
from HBO.
Oh, it's all still
through
tied.
My
this thing. It's
understanding
just
is
gonna
they'll
be-
have a separate sub badge of this is an HBO brand premium.
Yeah. They
but
already
it's-
have the
Who gives a
HBO
shit?
originals, the HBO Max originals, which is streaming only.
Right.
It seems like a really
Yeah, what's
bad
the
marketing
difference?
decision to me, but what do I know? I'm not
I
the
get-
CEO of
Yeah,
Warner
we
You're not David
Brothers.
Zaslav? I thought we did this podcast with David Zaslav.
Yeah,
That's not
I'm
true.
David Zaslav. But regardless, Succession.
Yeah.
Mm.
The best show on TV is back, and better than ever, you might say.
Hey, okay.
Well, just think about this again. HBO, just this past year, they went from House of the Dragon to The White Lotus season 2 to The Last of Us to Succession season 4. Unbroken, chain
Right.
of quality. I mean, that's a good of a run as anyone's ever had. In terms of just quality television. White Lotus. I like that show. It was pretty good. But Succession, season 4, the final season,
Wow.
and it's back and it's better than ever.
Kicking off to a great start.
Yeah. Well, just this last week, there was a very important episode that I won't get into because it is very spoilery.
Right. And I haven't
don't
seen
wanna
any
spoil
of
it for
it, to be
anyone.
fair. But this is
Yeah, you
the
guys
one
haven't
with...
seen it. If anyone's listening,
Will
I don't
you
wanna
ever
spoil
watch it, Mike?
Well, I think once it wraps up, it seems like it would be great to just get it going from there and just burn through. This has one of the McCulkin brothers, right?
Yeah, one of the McCulkin brothers.
The one from
You do love a Macaulay.
a Macaulay, yeah. The sorry, from Scott Pilgrim. That
from
one.
Scott
anyway.
Pilgrim. Yeah, Kieran Culkin.
Kieran.
Who played also Macaulay Culkin's little brother in Home Alone. Like he was one of the kids, right?
Yeah.
Or cousin.
Yeah. One of them little McAllisters running
Yeah,
around.
I've heard great things about Succession, and you've been telling me, you've been recommending it oftentimes on this podcast.
Just a
and I
very-
haven't.
Yeah, very well written show, well acted, and it's like this Shakespearean drama, but it's all about these super rich people that are all terrible people. And it's a lot like House
Go
of the
figure.
Dragon, where there's this family squabbling over succession, the name of the show, right? Who's going to take over the throne, essentially.
Yeah.
It's just
yeah.
set in a modern day. And yeah, I really recommend it.
Jacob,
Fourth season,
something
final season. Yeah.
something I like to think about in the context of it is, and better podcasts than ours have said this. Shout out to David Sims at The Atlantic. But if you told Brian Cox, theater stage guy, like, hey man, in the 2000s, you're going to get reinvented as the bad guy in movies, and suddenly you'll be a huge A-list actor in like the X-Men films.
Yeah.
I think he'd be shocked. And then if you said, shut up. And then 20 years after that, you will be on the #1 show on television on HBO. He'd be like, really? That's my trajectory? Yes. And you will also be the voice of the McDonald's jingle and make like $1 million a year just off of going like, ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Yeah.
Like,
it's true.
oh.
I mean, he really is like an Anthony Hopkins level actor that maybe doesn't have the as much
He was
recognition, but
Hannibal
he does
Lecter,
now.
Jacob. He
Yeah,
was
they
the
were both
original
Hannibal
Hannibal
Lecter.
Lecter.
Okay.
Yeah, Michael Mann's Manhunter,
Mm-hmm.
which we talked a little bit about on the
Yeah,
Silence
go
of the
back and
Lambs
listen to
episode.
that one.
Yeah, but it's just
Just an
he's
interesting
the
guy. And
yeah.
I just have no interest in it subject matter wise. You get me close talking about just
You
the
got to get
drama of
into
it
it a little bit
all
because you'll
and the
start to
Game of
care
Thrones.
about these
It,
characters
but and then just
in ways
reading
that will
stuff
surprise
about the
you.
Jeremy Strong guy, just being so serious and
That's
playing
what
like car crash sounds before them to be like, we need to change the
yeah.
energy of the scene. It's
So
like, oh
Jeremy
my
Strong
god.
plays the sort of he's got daddy issues, right? His character. I mean, all the children. It basically, it's
Wants
the
a kiss
four
from daddy.
children of this media mogul, all trying to fight over his affection, basically, but also like control of the company when he dies, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all kind of backstabbing each other, blah blah blah. But it's very well written. Like I said, it's a lot like Game of Thrones. It's just take out all the dragons and the swords and stuff, which maybe is like
Yeah.
what you like about Game of Thrones, but
It is.
As long as it keeps the feet, we're good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, John Wick kind of became this mythic Greek gods thing. Just look at this as, if you kind of, it's an elevated metaphor of, succession, a kingdom, that kind of same energy,
Yeah.
right?
And it's also like a dark
Yeah.
comedy and like a satire of like,
Cool.
the super rich in American culture and just how everything sucks and is bad, but
Dang.
that's all right.
Well, man,
Cool.
just laugh at it, laugh in the face of meaninglessness. So we have John Wick
Exactly.
4 was a finale. This is the final season. And they live in a house, presumably. Colin, is there a house that's having a finale
Hey, these transitions are always
that we're all
great,
going to
Mike.
talk about?
Incredible.
Look, yeah, here's what I'll spend my time on. I want to shout out. There's this Disney show, Owl House. It's great, kind of underseen. It's made by this woman named Dana Terrace, who is the partner of Alex Hirsch, who's like the Gravity Falls guy, who was a big Justin Roiland partner for a long time, and so of course has done voices on Rick and Morty and what's the alien
Solar
miniature
Opposites.
ones. No, but
Oh.
yes, thank you. But what's the miniature? Remember, we like the one where it's
the Hulu show.
what's
I forget
that
right
fucking
now,
thing
but
called? Yeah. But
the
you guys know
aliens.
what we're talking about.
No, the show is Solar Opposites, but then there's the
Solar
arc
Opposites.
of
Solar
the mini
Opposites.
house. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Mike. And then of
People
course
on
the
the wall.
mini saga.
Yeah, the
people on
wall.
Thank
The
you.
wall,
Yes,
yeah.
thank you. All of this, I want to say, tying into the HBO stuff, very interestingly, or the
Wow.
David Zaslav of it all, of course. This is a Disney show, so not tied to that, but reflective of what's going on at HBO, or what's going on at what I now have to call Warner Discovery, words that I do not like saying.
Just call
out
it
loud.
Max.
Yes.
It's just call it Max.
Max.
What's going on at Netflix with
For all
them
your
gutting their
HBO content.
animation departments?
Yeah.
And these people, all these people were these Cal Arts grads who, like you said, Jacob, with Adventure Time or even regular show, J.J. Quintel, the creators of that, Pendle Ward, the creator of Adventure Time, we're all classmates. They literally came up in the same way. They took these same sort of stories to reiterate and make different things. And then you have like Rebecca Sugar, who made like Steven Universe, all these incredibly influential modern children's cartoons that I absolutely adore, because of course you can always say things like, oh, they're geared towards adults or whatever. Yeah, kinda. To me, the main thing is they're super interesting. They're always high concept and they have great original characters. And it seems like these cabal of young animation creators have, again, found a way to tell very similar stories, but just putting their own flavor in it. And in this one particular, Dana Terrace, a young bisexual woman, has made a show where Disney has two young women on it who say things like, "You're my girlfriend. I love you." They show affection and kiss. And like, it blows my mind. I'm 33 years old. Those were things that were literally just not allowed on television in the 90s.
No way.
Yeah.
And
No, there's-
Disney?
That's great. Yeah.
Especially Disney, yeah,
Yes.
and I've been, noticing and seeing, with the more recent wave of cartoons, there's a lot more inclusivity and stuff, and with all the bullshit going on trying to not do that, it's awesome that children's entertainment can grow up being like, hey, people are people, what an idea, right? And I think that's just
Yes.
great, and it's the right
Yes.
message to put out. That's really cool.
And Steven
Absolutely.
Universe had like 2 female presenting characters that you could actually say were space rocks that
Mhm.
liked each other and got married, and one had to wear a suit and one had to wear a dress, and it was what it was, and that's Cartoon Network. That
Mhm.
walked so that the Owl House could run.
Mhm.
The fan base obviously thinks now that it's wrapping up with this weird, it got 2 seasons. It was supposed to get 4. Instead, they canceled the 3rd, and they've released 3 movies randomly that are each an hour long, that are
Hmm.
essentially like episodes kind of cut together. So not a great way to go out, and the fans believe it is retaliation, that it was too progressive. But
Aw.
my point stands that it existed. That is important for the rest of history.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
there's
the
a
fact that it's
fan base.
even, that even someone would find that controversial or something is sad that,
I know.
it
It's
can't
very
just
frustrating.
be, people have to say like, oh, whatever about it. But I think it's good that, it's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I don't like tomatoes, but that doesn't mean I want all tomatoes off the earth. You know what I mean?
No.
Like I just
No,
want to put.
Mike.
It's fine. It's fine if other people love
Yes.
them. It could be your favorite food, and
Yeah.
that's awesome. Great. I don't get
Yes.
it. I don't get why people can't just live and let live. But at least there's
And
some
there's just such a
representation that
backlash these
existed.
days of
Yeah.
like, if anything is determined to be woke or something,
Woke.
that's just,
Yeah.
it's really sad, but
Yeah.
I'm
It
glad
is.
that, it had its run.
Yeah. The only agenda that I have is for all humans to be accepted the way they are. You know what I mean? Like, come on, let's go.
Thank you,
But
guys.
That's right.
it's a bummer that that's but it did exist, like you said, and it probably hit a
Yeah,
certain
and
generation
it
of people.
wrapped up great. I thought it was an incredibly satisfying end. I'm not sure it would be your guys' flavor, but to any listeners who are looking for like an easy breezy, like cool young YA like fantasy thing,
I might check it out.
Yeah, seems like a good
Sounds
second screen.
interesting.
See what the vibes
Um,
are.
And speaking of animation,
Oh,
you're talking animation. I'm
Mm.
talking maybe we go from the west to the east.
Mm.
Talking about a little anime.
I like the
Ah,
transition.
Little
We're
transition
crushing
for
it.
you. What do you think about that?
I think that's
Um,
incredible.
I've been watching some anime recently
All
because there's
right.
a lot of anime that you can just, if you don't have
I'm so
Crunchyroll
happy to
or,
hear
or anything
this.
like that, there's a bunch that's on Netflix or Hulu or like different
Hulu
streaming
crushes it.
services. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can find a lot of shows that you're like, I didn't know that was even available on one of these streaming services. So I was like, you know what? I need like a second screen show while I'm working or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Let me find, some shows that I can get into that I've never really seen before. Well, the first one I watched was a show that I had seen before, Cowboy Bebop.
Mm-hmm.
Rewatched the whole show because I love that show and it's just so
Yeah.
good. And so I was like, let me rewatch this. Love the animation
Yep.
style, like the way it's edited and like the shots, like in other animes and other animation, does this, but like the way they just like shoot like small details in the scene and stuff, like it's just so well
It's
done
so
that,
cinematic almost. And,
yeah.
and Colin, you've seen all the original anime, correct? Or all
I
right.
have in the film.
So again, there's big energy in John Wick 4 of the end of that show.
Oh, of course.
And it's
Of
like I'm
course.
like, this is the closest
Yeah.
thing we're ever gonna get, and I love
Right.
it for that. But what a great series. That's awesome. And that's Netflix. A lot of the classics are readily available on those
Yeah.
services. So check them out.
So I
That's
watched
really
that on
cool.
Netflix, and I was thinking, should I watch the live action one, which I haven't seen yet?
Oh,
I have not done that yet, but maybe I will if you guys think it's
I
worth it.
think
It's worth it until the
you will
last
think it's
episode.
interesting.
Yeah.
I would
Okay.
agree with that, Mike. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'll
That's
check that out.
It's
But
its own
I was like,
interpretation that's fine, and then it goes off the rails at the very, very
It's
end.
jazz,
That's my opinion.
baby.
It
it
is
ends on a
jazz.
cliffhanger, so it'll never be resolved.
Yeah.
Bang. See you, Space
Wow.
Cowboy.
See you, Space Cowboy. So I watched that. Then I was like, I need a longer show that I can just put on my second screen, watch 8 episodes a day over whatever when I'm working.
Mhm.
So I'm like, let me get into like some kind of long running show. I was like, should I get into One Piece?
Oh my
Never seen
God.
that. I was like,
It
nah.
literally changed my life if I could
See-
talk to you about One Piece.
That's
The
Yeah.
one thing
Do I
I like
start
way
is
too
Naruto?
complicated for me. Too many
Jesus.
episodes. I don't know what's going
Right.
on.
Well, don't read it. Never watch it. Never watch it.
Too much.
Yeah, I don't have the manga, but I settled on a show called Hunter x Hunter or
Oh, you
Hunter
did it
x
right.
Hunter.
Sure.
No,
you,
you
My
did
brother
it.
loves
One
this.
pronounced
I
it
know
incorrectly,
nothing
yeah.
about this.
Yeah, Hunter x Hunter is was originally a manga by Yoshihiro Togashi, who
Mm.
also created Yu Yu Hakusho.
Mm.
Uh, and he went on to create Hunter x Hunter in the 90s as a manga, and it's still running today. I think it's had like a lot of hiatuses over the years, but it's been running since the 90s. And that was adapted to an anime. Well, the first one I think in 1998.
Right.
That one they went up to like where the manga was at the point, and then ended. Then they did another one in 2011 to like continue the story, but they went back to the
Full
beginning.
Metal Alchemist it.
Exactly, yeah, like
Oh,
Brotherhood.
nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Interesting.
So the 2011 one is the one that I'm watching on Netflix, and you know what? Really interesting show. I don't know if you guys know anything about this. Mike, you might.
I know a little bit about Hunter x Hunter. I know it's really, really popular as a manga and the original, like the 98 anime. I've seen episodes of that, like maybe a third or maybe nearly half of, I've seen some of those episodes. So I'm familiar with the property, but I've never read the whole manga or done the whole
Yeah.
story. But I know it's it's one of the big names in
Yeah, it's
like
a
the top 10, top 5.
long running shonen adventure series. A fun fact about the creator too, Yoshihiro Togashi. He is actually married to Naoko Takeuchi, who
I do know this.
created Sailor Moon.
My
So
brother
they're-
has told me this.
Yes.
Think about how talented their child will be.
Yeah.
So two different like very famous manga artists met and like fell in love and got married. So I think
And
that's
created,
pretty
iconic shoujo and,
Yeah.
shonen series. That's great.
So yeah, exactly. So Hunter x Hunter, it's about this 12-year-old kid named Going Freaks and his friends. They go out in the world,
Mhm.
they go on adventures, but there's this whole power system in this world called Nen, which is a lot like
Mm-hmm.
the Force or something, where you have
Sure.
these Nen users that are stronger, and they're called hunters, and they each have their own distinct abilities. So it's kind of like the Force meets Pokemon, where
A little bit of JoJo, but without stands.
That's
Like
One
there's
Piece.
a
Yeah.
unique expression of it, right? That everybody has.
Yeah, so you have like
Yeah,
your
One
life
Piece too.
aura,
Yeah.
and there's like 5 categories of like conjurers or emitters or enhancers or whatever. But then even further than that, you have your special ability that's like unique to you that you learn over time. And throughout the show, they're like training and getting stronger and stuff.
I could
But
just smell the Naruto taking everything from this. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
as a
it's a
blueprint.
lot
You
like
know.
Naruto, which is another one I thought, should I get into that? Then I was like, nah, let me do Hunter x Hunter. I like
This is the
the
progenitor.
art
Yeah.
looks cool. I like the character design. Let me get into this. It's pretty interesting. It's a little slow to start, but once you kind of get into the world, then and also the first 2 arcs aren't the most interesting. Like the first one is like the hunter exam arc, where he's just like going out doing the hunter exam to get his hunter's license to be a professional hunter and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It gets a lot better actually. Like by the 3rd arc, it gets really interesting. And the fights in this, I like them a lot, how they depict them, because it's all about like strategy and tactics and like outthinking your opponent and like thinking about, oh, he's going to do this, so I'm going to counter with this. And then
Yeah. You
just
get a lot of that internal dialogue.
yeah, very analytical. It's not just about out physically, outforcing them, but it's just about outwitting them.
Yeah. Game of chess.
Yeah.
You know.
I'm a Yu Yu fan. That's a lot like Yu Yu, but
Yeah.
I've never messed with Hunter x Hunter. That's
That
interesting.
was his first series that he
Yeah.
created, but Hunter x Hunter has gone on for 20 years now as a manga, and yeah,
Mhm.
it's crazy. Like
That's
I said, there's been
incredible.
hiatuses because I think he's had health issues.
Sure.
But the 2011 show, it's on Netflix, and it's a pretty good show just to watch. I just put it on the background. It's got a similar vibe to like the Pokemon animated show, where it's like these kids are going out on this adventure, meeting new
Wacky
people.
times.
Yeah,
Yep,
but it's
yep.
also mixed with
Does
like
it have a banging
violence and
opening song
yeah.
and cinematic? That is the
It
sign of a
does.
good anime. Okay.
It absolutely does, and it also changes like with each arc.
Of course.
Yeah, and
Okay.
but it's got this kind of adventure tone, but it's also mixed with sometimes like death and like really mature themes and stuff. So pretty interesting, and I like it. So recommend
Nice.
that. Shout out Hunter
That's cool.
x Hunter. Yeah.
Well, I got no beef with that recommendation, but another Netflix show that I do want to bring up to round out
Yeah.
the watches is Beef on Netflix. Have either of you watched the
I've heard of this
series
show.
Beef? Stephen
I have
Yeun?
not watched it yet, but I've heard of it.
I have not seen enough to comment on it, but enjoyed the bits I have seen.
I know
Saw
it's
the whole
about.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a road rage incident, and then there's people feuding and
escalates.
being petty, and then it goes from there. But I think it's a
They have beef.
fantastic show. I binged it in one sitting. I was so hooked by it that one Sunday I just
Wow.
tore through it. I think it's incredible, great show. So without spoiling anything, go check it out. I
Stephen
think.
Yoon,
Yep.
Our
is a
boy
great
Glenn.
actor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
We miss
Glenn
him.
on The Walking Dead, and
Shout
now
out.
Oscar-nominated actor, and
Yeah, now like
going
the
on to do like great things.
Yeah,
person
and Ali,
maybe who came out of The Walking Dead the best,
Yeah, I mean, he's
arguably.
the only one in
it's
that
like
cast
a
that has a Oscar nomination. I would
Yeah,
think.
Barenthal maybe one day could get a Best Supporting. I
Yeah,
bet.
he's good.
Norman Reedus can't get a supporting
Jeffrey
actor.
Dean Morgan, he's a good
No.
actor, but
No, but I was really surprised by the performances. Ali Wong too. Like everybody knows she's a comedian, has stand-up specials and that stuff. But like some of the dramatic scenes in this are just incredible from everybody. Like Stephen Yeun and Ali Wong primarily, but the whole supporting cast. It's a really strong show, very well written, and I just can't recommend it enough. So good job,
Wow.
everybody on that
Thanks.
side. Yeah, but if nobody has anything else, we're keeping it lean beef, out here. We're 95% lean. I think we're going to be moving into what you playing because we're not playing around right now. Our segue game is at top form. We'll catch you on the other side. Grab your controllers because it's what you playing right after this.
We're back here on Normies Like Us. We were talking what you watching. Now we're talking what you playing.
Yeah, exactly. And, we were talking about some shakeups at HBO. Some things, didn't get reordered, and some people would call that a fallen order. And I'd like to ship this over to Colin for him to talk about what he's been playing.
Wow.
Sometimes with
Hey.
actors, there's a war among the stars. What can you say about a Star Wars fallen
bit of
order,
a-
however, Colin?
I
Bit of
I
a reach.
wonder how much.
Yeah, that's fine.
This is.
I had to force it.
Bit of a Halo reach, you might say.
Oh, God. Okay.
I'm liking all this.
The force
We've
is yours.
become a bit of a Trek podcast, but
Mhm.
I wonder how much Star Wars we're going to be talking soon
Mm.
because, of course, there's a new game coming out. There's
Mhm.
Continued Mando. There's a hell of a lot of Star Wars news that just dropped. But
Yep.
yes, Mike, I'm playing the game before this new game. I'm playing Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, right? Which was the free
Wow.
game on PlayStation, blah, blah, blah service like last month or whatever. Finally getting around to it. But I'm not as far as you are, sir, because I believe you just beat this game.
I did just beat this. I got it. It was on Steam for like $5 for premium. So I got it on a deal too. It was on sale everywhere.
What a steal.
What a steal. Yeah. So I played it and I beat it. It took about 20 some hours. Second hardest difficulty. It's kind of Souls
Damn.
like
Nice.
combat. So
But
I
did
had
you
fun
get all
with
the
that.
cosmetics?
I didn't
Did you?
I didn't
100%
100% it, no. But I got I probably 70-80% of it. But I did enough
Nice.
to feel satisfied. They need a way to teleport to different bonfires in the dungeons. It's too hard to
Yes.
backtrack. That's my one criticism. But one
Yeah,
time
I agree
through
with
it, it's
that.
gorgeous. But
Too hard
anyway,
to backtrack. I would just get lost in the platforming levels sometimes.
that's what I mean.
Yeah.
You get
Yeah.
lost, yeah. And then
Yeah.
it takes you 30 minutes to work your way around. So anyway, that's my one criticism. But otherwise, I think it looks gorgeous. The gameplay is great. The story is very fun. And I skipped every trailer for the sequel in order to beat this, just so I would know.
Oh,
So,
I'm so glad you said that. I
Yeah.
almost sent you a huge thing the other day being like, can you believe we're doing this in the next one?
Yeah.
Super glad I did not.
I've been staying in the dark. But Colin, where
Okay.
are you at? How are you enjoying it? And yeah.
So I'll say first how I got to this. I bought too many games. I bought a game that maybe Jacob's going to talk a little bit because I've been a little bit of a Switch boy lately, and I'm like, I'm putting off all these games. I have all these games. But then I thought I got to get through some of them in my Switch catalog. I tracked down the Metroid Prime remaster, so I was like, fuck it, I'm booting this up. I never played it before on GameCube.
Mhm.
Threw it on, and I got to say, I found it to be so fucking boring. And I was
Oh,
realizing I
wow.
was spending hours after work and hours on the weekend walking around and getting lost, Jacob, and just so fucking unhappy
Yeah.
that I would hear Mike talking before we record this podcast about how fun he was playing a different Metroid style game. I would think, I have that. I have it fucking downloaded on my PlayStation. Just turn it on and try it. And from the first fucking cinematic where you're learning the controls, jumping through that ship,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it just fucking rolls. We should say, Jacob, you have played this game as well.
I'm beating it, right?
Yes, I beat this game back on the PlayStation 4 a couple years ago.
You were streaming this. It was during kind of lockdown times. I saw you beat some
Oh,
very
yeah.
difficult bosses, So yeah, you beat this when it
I do
came out. I
remember.
waited till it went on sale, but it's a good experience either way, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
I,
got
I
that.
like the Metroid style stuff. I get lost in this game as well, Jacob, but the
Yes.
combat is so fun, it makes up for it in my mind.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's got like the Dark Souls style combat mixed with the Metroidvania level design. But I my one problem with it is the map too. Like the way the map works is very confusing. That's why it would just add to my lostness because I would try to look at the map and figure out how to get where I'm going.
Zoom
And just
in, zoom out accidentally,
yeah,
try to rotate,
rotate it
can't
around.
What
rotate.
floor am I on?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
but as
But
far
other
as
than that,
game maps go, it's not the best. But I do love the combat, and I did love playing that game and just playing as a Jedi. It feels fun.
and the art design, like being able to see Dathomir like brought to what is essentially live action detail,
Wow.
or go to Kashyyyk during like a rebel, thing. Just seeing all these some planets I've never even heard of. It's just
Yeah.
really cool to be like, wow, so this is where Darth Savage came from. And you just cross your arms and look around. All right, the Night Sisters. Okay, yeah.
I met fucking Forrest Whitaker the other day.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that's so cool.
Saw
Yeah,
I was
Guerrero.
like,
we
this
saw.
motherfucker's in a movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's gonna go talk to um Luthen, soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, very cool.
That's right.
But yeah, I'm loving it. And we
Um,
did we shared
glad you guys are
lightsaber.
liking that
We
game.
shared our lightsaber pictures amongst each other.
Yeah. So
Um,
what kind of sabers are you guys rocking?
Well, I'm a green boy for life. I will.
yep.
I said this on Shout Out to the Cargo Bay podcast. I believe they are also fellow green boys for life.
Mhm.
Green boy gang, rise up.
Gotcha. Green
Luke
gang.
Skywalker, circa Turn of the Jedi.
That's
Yep,
right.
yep.
The
That is
greatest
a
reveal
classic
of all
look.
time. Yes.
Black
Amazing.
suit, green lightsaber, classic.
Just
Oh,
because
you're
the
getting
sky
me
was
there.
blue and they wanted to see it, so it's
Of
all, totally like a
course.
but like one of the most iconic reveals.
Yeah.
But it was like also a
Yes.
practical
Sense.
decision. You love to see
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Right. And I think his blue lightsaber, his first lightsaber, is iconic too. And
Yeah.
you're
he's a
an
green boy.
orange boy.
I was orange for most of the playthrough, but then when I finally unlocked purple, purple's my favorite color. I'm an HBO Max guy. Now I'm gonna delete the app because it's blue, and I'm upset.
You're
But I'm always
not
a
a
purple
bad
boy
boy,
when I can be. Yeah. But I played most
I
of it as
wish-
orange.
Yeah. Or I would think I was orange as well,
Mhm.
or yellow. I think I kind of switched a couple times, but I wanted to be red, obviously, because that's
Yeah.
my favorite. And my
They
two
should
favorite
let you.
lightsabers in all of Star Wars are red: Darth Maul's and Kylo Ren's, the two best lightsabers.
Oh no,
Not that I want to
Dooku's?
be a
You
Sith.
don't like a little?
I just want to
Insane.
be.
I just want a red
Insane.
lightsaber.
I just want a red. Can I be like the only Jedi with a red lightsaber?
Well,
That'd
we
be
got the
good.
cool new orange one teased in Ahsoka. It's like a deep orange. It's like, ooh, what's that
Oh,
about?
yeah.
So
Yeah. What is
could
that
be
about?
interesting. And we'll find out when Ahsoka drops on Disney Plus. Also, another blue app.
Wow.
Also with
That's the
Paramount,
thing
a lot
is,
of blue apps.
HBO Purple really stood out. Made them unique. Now they're
Paramount
just gonna be
Plus Blue app.
Paramount
Yeah,
Plus
th-
Blue. Everything's got
There's
to be
so many
blue
blue
now.
ones. Anyway, we're not blue about
Max.
Fallen Order though, because that was a great game. But Fallen
Yeah,
Order
I'm
2
glad
comes
you guys
out in
are
like
liking
2
that.
weeks, so that's a thing.
Is
You guys
this
gonna play that
is-
right away?
I was gonna say, is it becoming a day one buy to you, Mike?
Well, no, and I'll explain why in a little bit. It will be bought, but there's something that's preoccupying my time right now that I think is I'm going to be wrapped up with for a little
Yes.
while. Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Mm-hmm. We'll tease that. Day one buy for you,
Um,
Colin, though. Are you going to be grabbing it or waiting? Or
I-
Jacob, is it a
you
day
know,
one buy?
It feels silly to have gotten it for free and get this much enjoyment out of it that I got a little cash right now. Yeah, maybe I will just buy it right away. I told you guys off pod
Story
what
will be
it
fresh.
really makes me excited for just because of the customization. Cancel me away. I think I'm gonna buy that Harry Potter game next.
Oh,
Fucking,
sure.
I suck. I don't know what to tell you guys.
I mean, yeah,
Sorry.
we have to shut down the theme park. We have to shut it all down. It's go. You live your life, man. Become a Slytherin. Do what you got to do.
It's- I just
would
want to
be a
wear a
Slytherin.
silly little outfit and make my own wand after making my own lightsaber.
Yeah,
That'll
right.
be like the ultimate get me there.
The only thing with that
Yeah.
game is I've seen some combat and it wasn't really doing it for me in terms of combat.
Nah, but
Interesting.
you can run around and
Yeah, it
You
looks
make
like
a
a
typical,
blade come out of your wand and just do melee.
I wish.
I just like when people remove the spell cap so you can cast like Avada Kedavra infinite times.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
that's the other
Going
thing is
around.
that you can just do the
On the PC they mod it.
unforgivable curses to.
No,
just
you can't do
NPCs.
Avada Kedavra.
Yes, you can.
Students
No,
can
you
learn
Like
it.
one of the ones that you
can't.
learn. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
you don't. You can't. That
How do
would
you think you're killing those
no.
goblins or whatever?
I don't think that you kill them. I don't think people. That's crazy.
This isn't Pokemon. This is Harry Potter, man. The boy
Shit,
who
Maybe
lives.
I'll
Yeah,
look this
Pretty
up.
crazy.
But
Uh,
yeah,
well,
could be a fun time. Yeah, go
To
ahead.
why don't I keep it jumping to
Keep
me?
it jumping.
Transition.
I've also got
Transition.
into oh, let me think of a transition
No,
here.
no, you don't have to.
Oh.
So when
I'm
you're a Jedi, you have like a certain persona, right?
Oh God, yeah. Or even if you're a Sith
um,
pretending to be a Chancellor, that's like a type of persona, right?
Yes. Exactly.
Or you're a
exactly.
queen, you could be royal and have a persona that you're putting on, right?
Sure,
Mm.
Queen
Okay.
Amidala.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been playing. I recently got into a game called Persona 5 Royal, to continue my Japanese media theme with
Mm-hmm.
what I'm watching and what I'm playing. Persona 5 Royal. You guys have any experience with this game?
I looked it up. I literally said on our last Whatcha 10 episodes ago that I'd bought it. I have not put it in my
Hmm.
Game Boy yet, so I don't know.
Gotcha. So this is like Fallen Order for me, where I played this when it released, like,
Mm.
5 years ago or whatever.
Oh,
Not
sure.
Royal, the original edition, but I bought a
Right.
Steelbook. I'm a big fan of Persona 4. I played
Shit.
Persona
Wow.
3, even Persona 1 on PS1. I haven't played 2, but I've been through the series, but 4 is like a really important game to me. Like, personally, the story's really good, so I got the Steelbook for 5. I have like 140 hours, and I still haven't beaten the main story. So I
Damn.
can only imagine how
Wow.
long it's going to take you to beat Royale, especially if you're
Mhm.
100%ing or something. It's going to be nuts, but yeah.
Yeah, I know it's a very long game. I am not that far into it. I've gotten past the first palace now, Kamoshida.
Kamoshida is a
Wow.
Yeah,
shitty gym teacher, yeah.
yeah. So I'm now, and there's kind of an extended. The beginning is like they're kind of showing you how all the systems work and like how
Mm-hmm.
what everything is. So you're kind of like in a tutorial for like the first 20 hours that you're playing, just to like kind of get through
20
that.
hours?
Well, it's not
You do
all
like a
tutorial,
week
but
or
it's
something,
very
right?
kind of on rails for a while, where it's just like
Ah.
once you get through the first palace, it opens up a little more, and it does open up at times before that. But I do like it a lot. It's very
You like
cool.
the split of like daily life of a high school
Yeah.
kid and
So
then the combat RPG
yeah,
element beneath
Hey,
it?
and
normies, if you don't know, so basically by day you're a high school student in Japan, so it's like a life simulator type game, and then at night you go into these mind palaces, and it's like dungeon crawling with turn-based combat. And
say what you're playing it on?
I'm playing it on PC.
On PC. Wow,
Yeah, I got it on
interesting.
sale during a Steam sale. I just like to get a lot of games when they're on sale, and they just sit in my on
Mm,
my Steam, and I look at them, and then eventually I play them at some point.
You are the
And
Smaug of video games. You
mm-hmm.
have said that.
that's
Yes.
right.
It's my horde.
Yeah, just look at all the
That's funny.
names there. I don't actually play them.
Yes,
Yeah.
good.
But Persona 5, really cool. I love the style, the aesthetic, the music is
Oh, the
incredible.
menus. It just has so much
The
drip.
menus,
Yeah.
yeah. Like nothing, like so many games now, like modern RPGs and stuff, they have a really boring UI that's just like very standard. This is just like every, frame of this game, you can tell it's like it's a Persona game. And it's just a blast, going through dungeons, hanging out with my friend Morgana, who's like a little cat.
I'm all about
Uh,
Morgana.
yeah,
Telling you to go to bed on time. I should listen in real life more often, really. I need a
yeah.
Morgana to say, go to bed.
And it's got that Pokemon element where you're collecting different personas, and you can like make them evolve basically. But how you make them evolve in this game is you just have two of them be executed by a guillotine, and then they create a new one. So that's their evolution in this game. So it's
Yeah.
it's very fun, very wild game.
Yeah, and just oozes style. You got to balance your time between if I hang out with my friends in real life and you build
Yeah,
relationships,
you
it
have a
increases
limited
their
amount of
power in the
time.
dungeon. But
Yeah,
or do I work a part-time job and get some money to buy upgrades? It's like you have to balance the amount of
or do
time
you
you have during the
study,
day.
go to the
And it is a
battle
Exactly.
year. I mean, it is a
cages.
true year life. You live a
Yeah,
year, right?
it goes day by
Yep.
day. You have to go to school.
You do
Sometimes you'll
summer
have like
break. There's
class sessions where they'll ask you a question and you try to get it right so you get some knowledge points.
You are
Um,
not paying attention at all.
yeah.
yeah, there is a lot. It's a very dialogue heavy game, so sometimes I'll just be kind of
Hmm.
skipping through
Yeah.
dialogue a lot. Um, but
That's where most of the
it's a
time
very
goes.
good game. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. They'll have
It's a good
like
streaming game.
seasonal festivals and stuff. You'll do like the spring festival with fireworks. You'll do the beach arc. You go to the beach with the class on a field trip. There's all that kind of stuff
Excited
that
for that.
throughout the year that's like classic school events and then all the dungeons on
Yeah.
top of it.
Then
Very
by
good
night,
game.
you're a vigilante you're part of the Shadow Hearts of Thieves, or is that what
Shadow
it's called?
Thieves
Shadow
of Hearts?
Thieves of Hearts.
Yeah.
So you're going and you're changing people's hearts because you go into evil people's mind palaces and they've been distorted in some way. You fix their hearts and you change them and make them a better person.
Yeah,
And that's what
they're
the
kind
game
of
is
Great
dealing with
about.
plot
their
for a movie.
ego. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great.
And
Um,
Jacob, did you know that the lead character, Joker, is a Super Smash Brothers character now?
Yeah, I did
Looking
know
cool,
that.
Joker.
And
Are you excited for
cool,
him to be in
Joker.
the next Mario Brothers movie?
I'm very excited for
He's
that.
got to steal Bowser's
Wow.
heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Bowser.
Peaches. Anyway, we're talking about that.
Yeah.
But that's great.
Game. Hmm.
I'll
So-
start. I want to. It's the game I
Yeah.
think about the most. And do you think I would like it handheld?
I was
think it's
thinking this
perfect for that.
actually. Yes, I kind of wish I got it on Switch actually, because I've been playing it on my PC, and sometimes I think, man, I could just like lay down in bed and like fucking play
Mhm.
this on the Switch, and then I would probably play it a lot more hours than I really should be.
It's
but it would be-
perfect for
it would be
that.
great. Yeah,
I got it for like $25 at GameStop.
That's a
Some
good
fucking
deal.
sale or something.
there you
Yeah,
go.
I think it's a perfect Switch game actually, because you could just pop it in, do your part-time job, go down to the sauna, get a bath, go to school, and then turn it off and be like, that was a good little amount of chores.
It seems relaxing. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is relaxing.
Slice of life.
The only hard part is when you have to
Yes.
go into a dungeon, and then you're
Oh, shit,
crawling
oh,
through
shit.
the dungeon, and sometimes there aren't save points that often. So sometimes
Mm,
you want to pop on for like 20 minutes, and then it turns into like 45 minutes because you're waiting for a save.
Mm.
But very good game.
If the Switch saves your state when you turn it off, though, you'll be fine. I'm not sure if
Sure.
it does.
dog.
So there you go. Yeah, I recommend that a lot. So you go in and they have these like fortresses that you have to get through. But speaking of forts, and you do it at nighttime, Jacob, we've been doing a little bit of Fortnite still.
That's
Just
right.
a-
That's right.
Make
In
quick
addition to
update,
these
just a little bit, just a little
single
bit.
You guys
player
have been.
gaming,
Yeah.
Fortnite has really hooked me. I've been playing a lot of that. Even solo, I play that sometimes. I just log on, play a couple rounds.
Mhm.
I
I see you get
sometimes
some
I've
dubs.
gotten some dubs, got some duos dubs with Mike.
Yeah, we've gotten a
played with,
couple here and there.
friend of the show Adam. We've played with a bunch of people. We played with Joe, Matt,
Squad dubs.
Manette, squadding up with the Joe clan. And it's been really fun. They added, well, we've mentioned probably that they've added the whole cyberpunk city to the game.
Mhm.
They've now added Attack on Titan rope things. That's the new update this week.
Tying in the anime for
the-
this, man. You got
Yeah.
Aaron
Bringing
Yeager
the
stuff.
Spider-Man swinging back, I would imagine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
So you can be Aaron Yeager from Attack on Titan.
Aaron Yeager.
Yeah.
That'll be,
Mm,
hey,
fun.
when you finish Hunter x Hunter. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've already actually seen Attack on Titan, which is
Oh,
a pretty good show. I liked it.
I
That's
don't
one of
know.
the big-
That is one I don't know anything about.
It's one of the big modern ones, like one
Yeah.
of the
Pretty
biggest
good.
games
It's
for modern
about-
stuff.
Basically, if there was like giant people running around that eat people, and you gotta fight, you gotta protect the city against them.
You
That's
got to
all.
build the wall.
So real world, huh?
Yeah,
Just like
exactly like the
now,
real
huh?
world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, a little bit of that's been good.
I've been watching. You guys been killing it. You've been getting some crowns. You've been fucking rocking it. Mike? Are you still just rocking Ant-Man, or what's the best skins you guys have bought or got recently?
I would have bought John Wick if they would have re-released it. I would have done it, and
Ah,
so this
John
is
Wick.
now that I've said it here, they'll re-release it, and I'll be able to buy
Well,
it.
so here's what
Hey.
I know about, and this is a scoop from our old friend Joe. The John Wick skin and the Mandalorian Din Djarin with Grogu skin. Those were because those were in like a special event like Battle Pass thing. I don't think they can ever bring them back to the store because they were like
It's
a
like
special
that
edition.
season.
Yeah, so if you didn't get in that Battle Pass, there's no other way, or they haven't brought
Dang.
them back since apparently. So that's kind of disappointing. I wanted.
Well,
to
if
be
they
John Wick
do,
too.
they better have a trailer be like, I'm thinking I'm back. Like they have to.
Yeah.
But I don't know
I'm
if they'll do
shocked.
that.
You would think they'd do like a Bo-Katan tie-in right now.
Mm.
Oh, right now, yeah. Now that that's her show, basically.
Yeah, I wish they would. I wish they would bring back Star Wars because the
Bring
Star
back the
Wars Battle
Darksaber,
Pass
that'd be
was
cool,
the
yeah.
last was the Battle Pass before I started playing in like early part of this year. So that was like the fall of last year through December. They had all
Joe
the
have
Star
Din
Wars.
Djarin?
Joe, that's what he's saying. I wish I had a Din Djarin because he's got Luke Skywalker. He's got like every
Star Wars.
Luke Skywalker.
Star Wars character you could want, but he doesn't have the Mando.
Dang.
Wow.
Bummer,
Ayo.
bummer.
But it's a
And
very
you play,
addicting game. And it's just the game loop is just like you go in, you're hunting people down, you're getting bounties, you're using your surroundings, it's just a very addicting gameplay cycle.
it is. It can be intense. There's always something to do, and you got to always watch your six, and yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool.
They're
Yeah,
adding new stuff all the time to the game, special events. And so sometimes I just log on, play a couple rounds.
yeah, the most successful battle pass, I'd say for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
The future of video games is Fortnite. So
Yeah. It's
For
Ready
better,
Player
for
One,
worse.
real life.
when
Yeah.
will Cal Kestis join Fortnite?
Who? Maybe.
That's a good question.
Yeah, Cal Kestis from Fortnite. We need to get him in there. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
Joker might be in there too from Persona, but who knows?
I bet he is,
I
dude.
wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
I know that there was here could be a transition. There have been Resident Evil tie-ins, right? I believe there was a Leon
They had a
Kennedy,
Leon.
Claire
and a
Redfield.
They had a
Claire.
nemesis,
Yeah.
I think, right?
Yeah, running around.
I've seen clips of that.
Yeah, so to go to Resident Evil 4, they got the remake out, and I'm playing the heck out of it, and it sure is a
Wow.
swell game. Like, by golly gee,
This is
It's good.
one that I really want
it's
to play.
incredible.
Because I love that
Wow.
game for the GameCube. But it's just like that game, but with like updated like shooting mechanics and like quality of life improvements and stuff. Like I totally would love to play that game.
Well,
Yeah.
Mike, take a second, talk about it, but let's applaud real quick.
Mhm.
Capcom's been back on track, right? They've been killing it with these remasters of Resident Evil games.
They have been crushing it, I think, ever since the Resident Evil 2 remake, I think in 2019. They're like undefeated as far as quality, full price content. Like, even though Resident Evil
Yeah.
3 is mid for some people because they cut some levels, it was only $40. So I say that's still
But
fine.
you're an expert in that game because you
Yeah,
speed ran it, right?
I speedrun the heck out of it. I'm 10th no intro, and I was in the top 25 of regular, and that's a very competitive game. But that's my
wow.
favorite one. But regardless, it's high quality stuff, and even Resident Evil 7, incredible, the scariest one. Resident Evil 8 Village, incredible. Like, they don't miss. Devil May Cry 5 was incredible. They have not missed since 2019. And when they announced this, everyone's like, the GameCube one's already pretty modern, and it's on PS2. It's been put on PS5. It's like, you can play it everywhere, PS4 anyway. It's like it's been put on every possible platform. Why do we
Right.
need to remake it? And then I was skeptical too, and I got this just, because, hey, I'm going to speedrun it and see what's up. It is jaw-dropping. It is the best-looking game I've played on my new PC of
God
anything.
Wow.
It is so modern. Like, in the old game, you couldn't move and shoot. Just being able to move and shoot is like completely different dynamic. You feel like John Wick
Right.
out there. You're shooting people, kicking them in the head, knife stabbing them, reloading your shotgun. Like, it's the combat is so satisfying. They've improved everything in every conceivable way. Boss fights are improved, graphics, everything is better. I
Yeah.
can't
Everything I've
believe
seen
it.
from it looks awesome. So
It could be game of
I
the
really
year,
like it.
and I don't believe that for a remake. It's so good.
Well,
That's crazy.
no panty shots though.
Yeah, well, everyone's complaining about that. Actually, to be fair, yeah, you got those idiots saying, "Hey, why can't I objectify this character anymore?" So those changes are for the better.
Yeah. Thank
They did
you.
give her the original game came out in 2005, and so she has an alternate skin that's like a hot topic scene kid, like with
sure.
I will be
see-
looking this up.
So
Thank you.
I just been playing with that skin for the memes because that would have been contemporary when the original game dropped. But
Right.
she's much less annoying.
Hilarious.
Like, her character's much better. Like, she's actually less abrasive. Like, she would just yell Leon, in the original, and it'll be like, okay, chill out. But now her character is much more developed. Like, it's very good. Like,
Right.
they literally have improved everything you can think of. The only thing that's lacking is Ada's voice actress is a little flat. Not to be bullied, don't do that, because people are, because they're fucking dumb. It's just a little,
Oh.
it's a little, but she's going to get a whole DLC, and I think they can improve that with, better direction, whatever. But that's hardly a complaint. It's incredible. Like, it's probably the best Resident Evil that's ever been
I
made.
don't remember her role much outside of just throwing you the rocket launcher at the end.
Yeah, she shows up, and they've expanded the story. They give Louise more of a,
okay.
like, Louise has more to do with what's going on. She has more to do with what's going on. Even Sadler and Salazar, like, all the villains feel like a more cohesive unit instead of just like A, B, C. Like, everything feels
God
tighter. Everyone's motivations are improved. It's a lot scarier. And it's still campy. Where are they going? Bingo. Like you still get the classic lines. It's just bigger and better in every way. Like it made the
Yeah.
original obsolete. It's the Fury Road of Resident
Wow.
Evils.
This a buyer, Mike? Am I waiting for a sale?
This
or
is a
should I just grab
buyer.
it right now?
I would
Fuck.
buy it.
I wanna
Capcom
get it.
deserves to be rewarded.
Yeah.
I beat it
That's
once
awesome.
already, and
God
like
damn.
halfway through a second playthrough, and I've only had it for a week. So
Damn, that's awesome.
yeah,
That
I'm
is
loving
awesome.
it. So that's my
Well,
pitch.
Mike,
I love it.
you like Resident Evil and you like speed running Resident Evil.
do.
And when you speed run, you want to find the optimal path.
I do. I want
Uh,
to find that.
You want to find that optimal path,
Yes.
and you become a pathfinder.
That's
Oh,
right.
dude, that's incredible. Yes. Oh,
do.
great.
That's what we all say.
Oh,
Speaking
yes.
of pathfinders,
Yeah.
to
Speaking
go back
of.
to what else I've been playing, not only did I start one extremely long, time-consuming game, Persona 5, I
Mhm.
decided let me start another one that's also very long and time-consuming, and that was because I watched the D&D movie, like we all did last
Mhm.
week, and I was like, man, I really want to get into D&D. I want to play some, and I've
Give
dabbled
anything.
in the CRPG genre. Your Baldur's Gates, your Pillars of Eternities,
Diablo.
Mhm.
Diablo. I would say that's an action RPG, which is different than
Oh, okay.
CRPG, but they're subgenres. They're very similar.
Hmm.
Champions of
but-
Norath, you know.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
That's a pull. But Pathfinder's
Uh,
a similar rule. It's a
yeah, so
tabletop
I-
game with a similar rule set of
That's
D&D,
right. So
right? It's a
Pathfinder,
derivative.
Offshoot.
normies, if you don't know, first of all, I'm talking about the game Pathfinder Kingmaker. Pathfinder, so D&D, when they released D&D 4th edition, a lot of people didn't like that edition because they simplified a lot of things. They changed how a lot of things work. You guys know this as DMs.
Mhm.
So when they did that, Pathfinder was the subset that broke off and basically used D&D 3.5 edition rules, tweaked those, and now it's like a different game, but it was an offshoot of D&D originally, but it's very, very similar to D&D, right?
It's
Right,
so
right, right.
complex.
Yeah.
Well,
It's very
3.5 is
complex,
really
but it's
complex.
basically D&D. Yeah, it's D&D 3.5 edition. But Baldur's Gate, those Icewind Dale, those games in the 90s, I have a lot of love for those games, and I've even gone back and played them, the enhanced editions on Steam and whatnot, and they're very good, but they lack that modern touch, just like a Resident Evil 4 getting a remaster.
Mhm.
So I've also, as you know, dabbled in modern versions of this game like Pillars of Eternity, which takes a lot from those games, but it doesn't use the D&D rule set. It uses its own rule set that it kind of is derivative of that. Baldur's Gate 3, obviously, I've played a little bit. That's a modern one, but that's
Mhm.
turn-based combat. So there's turn-based versus real-time with pause combat in these games generally, right?
Okay.
It's either
Mhm.
one of the two usually. Baldur's Gate was real-time with pause. And so is Pillars of Eternity.
Yeah.
Point I'm trying to make is, so I settled on Pathfinder Kingmaker, which is a game that I bought on sale a while back. I was like, I'll play this eventually.
It's part of your
and so-
horde, yes. Yeah.
yes,
Run the horde.
yes. I look at it. I say,
The claw.
now it
I'm
is time."
chosen.
Yes,
Yeah.
good. I hope no dwarves or hobbits steal this from me.
Yes.
Yeah. In Pathfinder Kingmaker, it's basically the modern Baldur's Gate. Like it takes a lot of inspiration from those older games, and it's that classic D&D setting. And it even goes so far with Pathfinder that the story of this game is adapted from a Pathfinder module. So they release these modules in like a magazine or whatever for
Mhm.
different campaigns that you can play with your friends. So it's a modified tabletop campaign.
You
In
are
this video game.
following a story.
Yes.
So it's not nebulous. It is truly just long, like you're saying. It's just some sort of endless narrative.
Yeah, it's supposedly takes like 120 hours to complete the whole
Damn.
Goddamn.
thing with side quests and everything.
You won Pathfinder. You're like,
You
oh,
you
Yeah.
found the path.
thank you.
So this is
Okay,
Pathfinder
yeah, here I am.
Kingmaker, which came out in 2018. There has been a sequel called Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, which came out, I think, in just last year. And these are a lot like Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 was Larian Studios, who also did Divinity Original Sin. They have their own kind of way of doing combat and stuff, like I said, with the turn-based, using a lot of area effects and elemental damage and stuff. destructible environments and stuff, which is pretty cool. Pathfinder Kingmaker, it's that traditional top-down CRPG style, real-time with pause combat. You're creating your character. It's like just like creating a character in D&D. You do the whole character sheet. It's very, very detailed. And I spent more time in this character creation screen than anything because I keep making different builds, trying different things. I've started like 4 different playthroughs with different builds just to see what I like. So it's a lot of fun.
That's cool.
My
It
first
sounds
build,
dope as hell.
Yeah.
yeah, it's if you like D&D, you like it because it's the video game version of D&D essentially.
Is it
I started with a
multiplayer?
sorcerer. It's not multiplayer like Baldur's Gate
Okay.
3 where you can co-op. It's only single player.
So you're the
Wrath of the
solo
Righteous,
hero.
they might have added multiplaer, but I'm not sure.
Copy.
Yeah,
But
but
you
you
did a
get a party
sorcerer.
of companions and stuff like that. So you fill out your party with these companions so you can get a tank and a healer and whatever else you need.
Yeah.
My first build that I did was a sorcerer, a gnome sorcerer. I was like, let me try this.
That's
Was
funny.
liking it, but I was like, maybe I'm not smart enough to be a sorcerer. Let me try a melee build, more melee focused build. So the next build I did was a half orc barbarian. That was a special kind of barbarian called a mad dog barbarian, which
Nice.
means I get an animal companion basically. So I have some like druid powers.
Cool.
So I'm a chaotic
ranger.
evil. Yeah, or a ranger.
Good
And you can.
catch.
There's also a sorcerer called the Sylvan Sorcerer in this game where you get an animal companion. You kind of draw your power from this animal. So I'm this chaotic evil half orc
Patronus.
barbarian with the animal pet I went with is a Smilodon, which is a saber-toothed cat.
Oh,
So I'm
Yeah.
rolling
Very
around
cool.
as this half orc barbarian with a saber-toothed cat and just fucking
that's
shit up.
dope.
That's my chaotic evil run. Then I was like, let me do a good melee character build. So my most recent one that I'm doing now is this paladin.
I was gonna say human paladin. I would hope.
Human
Yeah.
paladin, lawful good. I also tried a more complicated build, which was like an Aldori duelist, which is basically it's like a magus, a sword saint magus, and then which means I kind of use one weapon, the dueling sword, and it uses dexterity instead of strength for like my attack rolls and stuff. That was kind of fun, but I was also like very squishy and I would just like die a lot because I had no like constitution and strength.
Kind of like
And
rogue.
is that multi-classing or is that
Yes.
a true class? Oh, okay,
So
interesting.
I was starting as a sword saint magus, but then I can multi-class into different things, and then eventually, if you have the right things, you can get like prestige classes.
Class, sure,
Yes,
of course.
it's
Yeah.
very very
Of course.
detailed,
Yeah.
but it's a lot of fun just to build the character.
3.5 was the edition I was, again, not Pathfinder, but D&D was the edition I was kind of reintroduced to when I started playing it again in high school. And I just truly remember most nights just being like, there's just so much math and statistics going on.
I mean, even just to build these characters, I'm looking up guides online.
Oh my God.
Okay, they're telling me to do this and this. I am not smart enough to be like optimizing these builds perfectly, but I'm doing the best I can. And so I've been playing this paladin build recently, and I'm doing a lot of. So I got pretty far in my chaotic evil run, not super far in the story, but I've gotten through a couple things. So now I'm doing like the same events as a lawful good character, and like seeing how the story's different and stuff. It's like it's really interesting. Like it's pretty well
crazy.
done.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So
I'm enjoying it a lot.
replay value there too, which is always great for a single player.
Oh yeah, tons of replay value because there's so many different characters you could play as. Like you're literally every class in D&D that like you guys know of, and there's like subclasses and there's multi-classing, just so many options that you could do. So for like a D&D nerd, it's like a dream come true.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
I wish we could make our real characters and just play together. I just I think about the movies so much in my day-to-day life, guys. I would love to
start a real session.
I need to see it again. Yeah, I gotta just get off my butt, get a one shot or something. I have been working.
If you have that D&D itch, check out Pathfinder Kingmaker. Also check out Baldur's Gate 3. They're very similar, just kind of different variations on that D&D video game style.
Yeah, awesome. Anything else to round this out for playing? Colin, any last notes? That's kind of all I've been up to is what we've been talking about.
No, really just falling order for me. I've been trying to squeeze some other stuff in. We talked Mario and I got the itch, so I busted out my little hacked PSP and restarted Mario RPG as I said I would. I'm not gonna finish it. Like, it's not gonna happen.
But it was nice to hear the menu music again.
Yeah. It's fun to see.
Yeah, of course. That's awesome.
That's like when I start up Baldur's Gate or Baldur's Gate 2, like, I'll play for a couple hours and I'll be like, oh, that was cool. I'll probably
Why
never
did I
come
do
back to
that?
this. Yeah.
Stay a while and listen. It's like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
That's very funny. All right. Well, that's kind of been the quick and fast Whatcha. Let's go ahead and hop on over to final thoughts, and you can hear what thinking about coming up next right after this, guys.
We're back here on Normies Like Us, giving our final thoughts on what we've been watching.
Mhm.
We had a lot of good stuff. Any lingering recommendations? Jacob, you're excited for the basketball season. I've been watching Winning
Oh, yeah.
Time, so I'm kind of swinging back
right.
around to basketball. I'll be checking that out.
Yeah, basketball playoffs about to start. They've got the play-in tournament right now, which is the 9 and 10 seeds trying to make it to the 7th or 8th seed. Probably not going to happen for them, but they can always dream. And my team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, very excited. Their first playoff game is this Saturday. I will be watching. My two favorite sporting events, like yearly, are the NFL playoffs and the NBA playoffs. And even better when my team is in them. And in
Mhm.
football, my team is 99% of the time not
Very
in
rarely.
them.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Cleveland Browns, obviously.
Mhm.
Not like you fancy Bengals fans with your Super Bowl appearance and everything.
Oh, suddenly turning around.
But the
Well,
Cavs, the
boo,
Cleveland
boo, Cavs,
Cavaliers,
go Lakers.
first time back in the playoffs in 5 years. Very excited for that. First time without LeBron since 1998. I'm not even going to calculate how many years that is in my head. 25. Crazy to think about. So
Yeah.
go Cavs.
Go
Love
Cavs.
the NBA playoffs. Let's do it.
Shout out to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who has leukemia right now.
Oh, dang. Best wishes for recovery.
Yeah,
He
sorry to hear that.
almost
But yeah,
defeated
Winning
Bruce Lee.
Time. I'm glad you are watching that show, Colin. That was a fun show to watch for sure.
Nice.
Go Lakers.
Go Lakers.
One of my favorite sporting events of the year is a playoff too, but it's the NHL, and nobody likes hockey, but I like
The
hockey.
ice basketball.
Go Kings.
Ice soccer with knife shoes. That's kind of how I look at it. But hockey playoffs are starting soon too, in about a week, I believe on the 17th. There's 3 games left for the Kings. They are in the playoffs, but it's now fighting for seeding, so that's very much in the jump. We could face Edmonton, who's on a tear. They got Connor McDavid, the best player since Wayne Gretzky, I think. He's like incredible. Vegas has our former goaltender, which that was a bittersweet trade. He won 2 Stanley Cups with us. So if we face Vegas in the first round, there's a lot of drama there. So there's a lot of storylines happening, but I love the NHL playoffs. I think there's some of the most exciting stuff, especially the first round, because upsets, anything can happen. And there's like 2 games a night. There's so much going on. Same thing with basketball. The early rounds are really exciting. So check that out if you care.
On the NBA side, there are some really exciting matchups coming up in the West. There's a lot of good teams. And the Cavs will be playing the New York Knicks in their first round. So boo Knicks.
Boo
Fuck
Knicks.
you, Spike Lee.
Go
Nets.
Nets.
Yeah, Nets are in the
Boo
playoffs
Knicks.
too.
Go Nets.
Right.
I guess this segment is what you're looking forward to, I guess, because there's a lot of stuff, obviously the announcements of Star Wars Celebration, there's a ton of stuff. Ahsoka looks interesting. Then we're getting, a bunch of other news with the changes to HBO. I don't think I'm looking forward to that, but it's happening. And things like that. I don't know anything of note, Colin, on just general news, trailers, releases coming out. Evil Dead Rise looks interesting. I don't know.
Very much so. Jake and I have just been doing truly a run of just seeing movies every weekend lately. I think
3
this
weeks
is
in a
going to
row
be the
we've
first
done
one
it.
where we haven't. Yes.
I'm the
run.
same.
Yeah, we've got John Wick, Dungeons and Dragons, Super
Mario.
Mario, Scream, like back to back
Oh,
to back to
yeah.
back.
Yes.
Damn,
Yes.
4 weeks.
It's been a fucking wild ride. It's
work.
interesting. I believe this is is this the Nick Cage vamp one?
Yeah, Renfield is this week.
Renfield,
Is this Renfield this week?
Yeah.
Maybe, I might take a break.
I want to see it, but I won't. I don't know. I'm not gonna.
Well, there's been so many good movies recently.
I'm not gonna say let's go.
We
Let
even
the not
skipped
to
our
go.
Star Trek for the month, Normies. If you didn't
Yes.
realize, last month we did not do it in
Yeah.
Star Trek, but we will
Just
be
too
getting
much.
back to that next week. So I'm very
Yeah.
excited about that.
We're getting back
Star
on
Trek
track.
Insurrection.
Oh, any Picard thoughts while we're here?
I'm a couple episodes behind now. I got to catch up. I chose to watch Mando today over the whatever episode of Picard I'm on. So caught up to Mando now, but I need to catch up to Picard. But I was liking the season so far. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm one behind. So I watched Mando instead of Picard today too. But it's the best one so far. It's working, but it's starting to come apart a little bit. It's
very much like the Force Awakens of TNG, where they're just like, or like the '90s era Star Trek, where they're like bringing all this stuff back that you remember. It's a lot of member berries, but
Hmm.
that's kind of what I wanted from a Picard show. Like the
Ah,
first two
Chewbacca's
seasons
in
was
it?
not really that.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, they're bringing back the whole TNG cast. Bringing back, you know, the Dominion War and
the most
changelings and
interesting
everything.
stuff is tying it with DS9. Like there's talk of, what's the Pa race up to? Shit like that is cool.
Yeah.
And like tying in DS9 with, Picard stuff, I think that works. And that's what's most interesting to me, having the changelings in there. So
Changelings.
That's all this show
Yeah.
needs to be to me. Like the first two seasons was like they're trying to do its own thing. Did not work at all for me. This season has actually been like quality, enjoyable television. Yeah.
Yeah, so
But wasn't
That's-
this again? Weren't those other two seasons kind of Picard himself stepping in, Charles Xavier, and saying like, Patrick Stewart always kind of wanted it to be this way, though. And
Yeah.
you're like, no, you always make the wrong choice. you
Actually, and a lot of
old
people don't know
man."
this. Like I've mentioned it before. Yes, Patrick Stewart has some very weird ideas about what Picard should be doing. And he only agreed to do the show because he didn't want it to be a TNG reunion show, which is now
Because
what
he
this
had
season is.
control.
Yeah.
right.
So he's
Now it
probably a
is.
big reason why the first two seasons were the way that they were. But as we've said, like Patrick Stewart, great actor, but maybe some bad decision when it comes
I
to like
want
what.
to kiss a
Well,
lady.
he wants it, and he wants
Yeah.
to not do shit he's done before. I get that as an actor. He wants to do something different. And I want to just bring
Yeah.
out the old, I get it,
Yeah.
but
All I gotta do is
You know?
throw enough money at him. Like he wasn't gonna come back for X-Men, but he came back for Logan. And now
Came back
Hugh
for
Jackman might come back. Just gotta throw
multiverse.
money at them, right?
Now he has severe arthritis, and I bring this up all the time.
Oh.
Sorry,
Oh.
listeners, if I've said this
He
before.
is very
And
old, unfortunately.
but has self-admitted to he is on edible weed about every second of the day now. Do you guys
That-
think about that when you're watching him as Jean-Luc Picard now?
That is
he's clearly,
amazing.
like high out of his mind.
I
Now
will now. Yeah.
I understand why he's so close with Rafi. It makes so much sense. And now that
Yes.
plot
I
point
want
is
to meet Rafi.
she's his plug.
Yeah, that makes so
Yeah.
much sense. Just
She
90
gives Picard his space
million-year-old
weed.
Patrick Stewart, just high all day.
Right.
Kissing his
Um,
27-year-old girlfriend or whatever in
Jeez.
between takes, and you're
Well,
like, all right.
Godspeed.
All right.
Good for him.
Make it so. Jeez.
Make it so.
Another Star
Okay.
Trek note. Jacob did say we're doing Insurrection next week. We get Strange New World season 2 in June.
Oh,
my
yo.
God.
It's
I forgot about
coming,
that.
baby. We love
Have we got
Strange
a
New
trailer
World.
or
For that.
anything?
I
There was
haven't
a
seen a trailer or
trailer.
anything. There is.
Oh,
There
Jeez.
was.
They
Okay.
had like a Star Trek Day recently, which is like Star Wars Day or whatever, where they
That's
release a bunch-
desperate.
Wait,
Yeah,
and
it's a little sad,
Desperate.
is it on First Contact Day?
but it should be, but I
It
don't
It should
know.
be the day Gene Roddenberry was shot into space.
Yeah.
His ashes.
They
April
announced,
5th.
like,
So it could have been. Yeah, First
Yeah.
Contact Day.
the Discovery season 5 will be the last season. I think it's season
Yes,
5.
big
whatever.
news. Big news.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that's ending. Strange New World's the new flagship show, you might say.
Being canceled, you should say. Oh,
Hmm.
also kind of an inside scoop because I heard this on a different podcast. Connie Newsom, our beloved Mariner from Lower
Mhm.
Decks,
Yes.
it's maybe seeming like that show's coming to an ending because I heard some
Uh,
writers are no longer working on it, but she is going to be writing a new Star Trek show.
Right. Oh, I did hear about that too. Yeah.
And that character is going to show up in a Strange New Worlds crossover with Beimler.
Live action.
Yeah. There's
So,
there's
who
gonna be a
knows?
live action crossover.
Hopefully, we get Mariner over into live action because that's such a great character.
And the
If
weird
we
thing
lose
about that
Lesser
show-
Decks, I'm really going to be hurt.
That's
yeah.
gonna be sad.
So
It
Lesser
took me.
Deck, Lower,
Lower
Decks.
Lower
and,
Decks, sorry.
Strange New Worlds. Fun fact about that show: the first officers in those two shows are married. Right, Rebecca
That's
Romaine and Jerry. Jerry
Every
O'Connell.
day they wake
Yeah.
up and say, "I'll see you on the bridge."
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's
they need
great.
to have that in the crossover.
They have to.
Yeah, it took me so long to get into that show. Colin, you were advocating for it, and when I finally did, I was like, "You're right. This is one of the best Star Trek shows. Like, it is so
It's
good."
not just their attempt at a Rick and Morty. It
No.
carves its own special lane in Star Trek lore.
It asks
Yeah.
interesting questions and has great character moments. Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. So, to Infinity and Beyond. That's not Star Trek, but you know what I mean.
Well, it
That's right.
basically is. All right.
right.
Get ready for our Star Trek episode coming up. Like we said, we're going to be doing Insurrection, the next TNG film. But until
Looking
then,
forward to
normies,
it.
you can find us at Normies_like_us. Or you can reach out and say what you're watching too. We love to hear what you're watching, let alone that you're listening to this podcast, which let us know that too. Rate, review, subscribe, helps us out a lot. And check out our YouTube page.
Yep.
That's
We
right. Check
appreciate
out-
that.
Check us out on YouTube. Look at our beautiful faces.
See what color backgrounds we have. It's a lot of
always
crazy
a
stuff going
surprise.
on over there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's colored our lightsabers. You can kind of see Jacob's is red there. Mike's is kind of
I
purple.
think
Jacob's
mine
purple
is an
too.
HBO Max funeral procession, but yeah, it's purple for that reason.
Yeah. Fuck you, David Zaslav. Zaslav, whatever your name is.
Zaz Daddy,
Anyways, Normies.
not me.
We've
Anyways,
been your
have a great
hosts.
one. Yep.
This is Colin.
This is Mike.
This is the Jacob Lorian.
All
All
right. Not Cobb Vance. Catch you next time on Star Trek War.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.